Welcome, everyone. Tiffany Allen here from Nodus. It's a pleasure to have you join us today. We're going to cover accounts receivable, automate, integrate, and repeat exclusively for Acumatica. So thanks for being with us. Just a couple Q&A things. Definitely feel free to ask any questions in the chat. We've got a few other team members from Nodus in there today, so they're happy to answer any questions as I step through automate, integrate, and repeat for Acumatica. So on our agenda today, we wanted to go ahead and cover really what the pain points many people are seeing with a manual AR process. Then we're going to take a peek at how you can leverage automation and technology to streamline the accounts receivable process. And then ultimately, we want to dive straight into Acumatica. Obviously, that's what you know and you're familiar with, so we want to show you how easily you can automate the AR process directly within Acumatica. So getting started here in terms of AR, it's truly the heartline of every business. How can we collect that outstanding revenue as quickly and as efficiently as possible? Obviously, you've made huge strides towards that with your Acumatica implementation, but what we want to focus on is how you can manage that incoming revenue. Ensuring there's an ease and a convenience in terms of collecting payments. Certainly hope that you're not having to visit a virtual terminal to go ahead and process payments. And then how does that get synced back into your Acumatica system, right? So how can we apply those documents or apply payments to the appropriate sales documents for you? And overall, really just ensuring that you've got an end-to-end solution within your account management system. So I'm going to assume most of the people that are probably joining this session today are pretty familiar with the AR process, but as a quick overview, I wanted to talk about the numerous manual steps that come into play. And unfortunately, sometimes not only are they cumbersome, but they can, unfortunately come with error as well. So first component is obviously posting of an invoice. Everybody I'm sure is super familiar with here, first step in the process. But then it's how do we deliver that invoice to the customer? Is it email? Is it mail? I think a lot of people have transitioned to email, which is fantastic, and we fully support that as just one of the building blocks in the automation process. Really, then it then turns into the true collection process. It would be fantastic if our customers were to receive that invoice and pay immediately, but it doesn't always happen. So we're going to support you in terms of how is it that you are getting payment reminders out today. Likely it's somebody on that AR team going back and filtering through to see where those invoices are in the aging cycle, how we're going to communicate with them. Is it phone? Is it email? What type of reminders? That can be a very mundane, tedious task. Lastly is processing those payments. So there's a myriad of ways, obviously, that you guys can accept payments, check, ACH, credit card. If you've not dabbled or, broken off into offering credit card or ACH payments, that adds another layer of complexity. So how is it that you're processing all of these payments? Lastly is, updating your client, updating that customer, letting them know their payment has been received, ensuring that they get that confirmation email or message that payment has been processed and applied to their account. In terms of that application, right, it goes all the way back into Acumatica there. So we want to make sure that we're applying payments to the appropriate sales documents. So you've got quite a bit going on there. And the goal, obviously, would be to look at different ways in which you could automate the process. Taking all those little bits and pieces that formulate that AR circle and really bringing technology and automation into play. With Nodus, you are going to be able to have the ability to deliver invoices real time. As you generate those invoices or sales orders within Acumatica, we'll immediately notify your customer that they have an invoice they need to make payment on. We'll also send payment reminders or reminders to make payment, right? And you've got all sorts of flexibility there. You can configure the solution to say, hey, I just want to send you a friendly reminder, this is coming due. Or if it's past due, how aggressive do you kind of want to get with them to ensure you're going to get a more timely payment going forward? The other component is truly end-to-end payment processing integrated into your Acumatica solution. So being able to process a payment directly within Acumatica. Some other options we'll look at it as well for your customers' convenience today. Sending receipts, right? That is right now probably a separate step, and we want to ensure that that happens seamlessly behind the scenes. As that payment is collected and it's applied, the customer is being updated. And then ultimately, obviously, you're ensuring that your system of record, Acumatica, is always up to date and current as you are applying payments in a real-time fashion. So that talks a little bit about what it is that we can do here in terms of leveraging an AR automation solution directly within your product. Let's show you how it works. I'll bounce out of here for a second. And hopefully I'm in something that's pretty familiar to you all that are on the line with us today. But I've bounced into Acumatica. I'm in my favorite screen. And what I want to do is just create an invoice with you guys today, so you see really the ease and the integrated convenience of Nodus directly within your environment. So we'll tab through a couple of these fields. My favorite customer, one Tiffany. And let's add a line item here. All righty. Construction apprentice will get 10 hours in here for them. So invoice is created. And let's think of the use case of maybe the customer called and said, hey, I need to get this order processed. And let's go ahead and apply it to my current Visa that you guys have on file. You can do all of this directly within your Acumatica solution. So we've released the invoice. As I go ahead and click the pay button, I now have the option. She said, hey, I want to pay with the Visa that I have on file. So I can go to payment method, and I've got various payment methods that are available to me here, but she said Visa. So as I click the Visa button, it's going to prompt the Visa that we have on file specifically for one Tiffany. Now I can drill into that and see that's the only Visa card I have here. If there were multiples, those would be listed. But this is where somebody on the AR team can say, thanks so much for the order. I 100% can apply this to the Visa card that we have on file, ending in 111. You notice, obviously, we're not passing that credit card information into Acumatica. None whatsoever. We're going to reduce that PCI scope and ensure that you guys have a secure solution protecting your customers' data. So in this regard, we absolutely can apply and leverage the Visa that is on file. Just to be, as you add, if you were going to add a new card, you could absolutely do this right here on the screen. I'll go ahead and hit save. Sure. We'll add a new card in another place here, so sorry about that. But at this stage, we know that we're going to use the Visa card on file ending in 111. I can authorize or capture. We realize that's functionality that many of our clients need. Hey, I need to authorize. I need to ensure that they have enough funds to cover this. I'm not ready to charge their card yet because the order is simply in process. But that's certainly available to you. Today, we'll go ahead and capture that payment that quickly. But again, the credit card information is being stored in the encrypted PayFabric processing cloud for you guys. That card information is never hitting your Acumatica environment to ensure you guys remain fully compliant. So that quickly, we've processed a payment, right? We've generated an invoice from a customer call in. They said, hey, pay with the Visa on card or on file. And if we go down here to the credit card processing section, we can see it was processed through Nodus, our PayFabric solution, authorized and captured. It was approved for $450. All of those details are already notated directly within the application. So that's actually processing a payment directly within Acumatica. But another scenario that we would see, probably a very common one, right, is we're going to be generating invoices. And what does it look like for the customer? How do they know that they have an invoice that needs to be paid? So we'll use my favorite customer again, one Tiffany. And let's generate a new order. And we'll buy an access door today, just one of them. So on this one, we have an order here for $15,000. I'm going to go ahead and hit release. And that's our indication to go ahead and forward the invoice directly to the customer. It's real time. We've got a real-time integration via the API with Acumatica to ensure our data is syncing directly. So we're now notifying one Tiffany that they have an invoice to pay. Now, it may take just a second for that to fire through. So I did go ahead and did a test transaction yesterday for you. So want to show you exactly what it looks like on a customer experience side. So this is going to come directly from your organization. You have a new invoice. This red bar is just something internal here for our organization that wouldn't necessarily be on your invoice. And additionally, the branding right now is specific to our product, Pay Fabric for Acumatica, but this is going to be branded unique to your organization 100%. So your look, your feel, your logo is going to be embedded in here. You're going to see the details, the invoice balance, date, number, and you've got a couple options. Before we go through those options though, also, we're going to include a copy of the invoice, right? So as that customer receives an invoice, they absolutely may want to take a peek, drill in, look at all the details. Okay, this was for project consulting, $2,000. Very good. There's two options as we fire off that notification to your customer. First, they can pay now. And Pay Now is going to take them to a secure page to process a singular payment. And, oh, I already paid that one. My apologies. We'll pop back here. We'll pop back to our email. So that takes you to a secure page to make payment for that individual invoice. Where is that a good use case? Maybe for somebody that infrequently makes purchases with you. It's just a one done purchase. They want to click a link from an email, pay that quickly. Fantastic option, completely secure portal for them to process that payment. The other option would be for them to be able to log in to a customer portal. If they've never logged in before, we'll give them a quick and easy click to register themselves to log in to the customer portal. But that's what I'll go ahead and do for us here today. And we see quickly in this customer portal all the details about their account. So One Tiffany currently has a handful of open invoices. Now, we just created one here today. It's the last one, the 435. But these are all the different open invoices that One Tiffany can, review and see that they need to make payment on. Here's that invoice for the access door we just created. Now, before we make payment on this invoice or multiples, we certainly can do that here. Let me kind of test drive the portal for you so you can see the self-service functionality that you can deliver to your customers. Obviously, it's going to highlight any past due balances, any outstanding balances. This is configurable. If they've got a credit balance, you could highlight that as well. We'll drive through paying the invoice at the tail end. You also can set up auto payments. So this is something that really customers have a great appreciation for. Everybody's trying to streamline their processes. If you've got a long-standing relationship between your two organizations, they may want to set it up to monthly have an auto payment. They may want to do it at the end of the month. They might want to specify a specific amount that they want to pay monthly. Or, hey, I'm going to pay on the due date of the invoice each time. So they can configure this and set this up based on their own policies and procedures. You also have the ability to set up a prepayment. Now, this is configurable. Some organizations love this option. Others say, hey, we don't extend prepayment options. It's too complex for us on the back end. That's a configurable option that you would not have to configure if you don't have the prerogative to do so. Probably the most important piece, or frequently used piece, maybe I should say, within the portal is customers being able to access a historical picture of all of those invoices. So here they are, they're listed, all the invoices that have been made, or all the invoices historically here. You have the ability to export them 100%. You also have the ability to set a filter. I just want to look at any pet payments, or I want to look at any credits on file. And you also can do it within a date range. You can do it by amount. So a tremendous amount of flexibility for you guys to leverage or extend that self-service access that maybe your AR team is constantly fielding kind of some more support and maintenance calls with vendors. Give it to them at their own fingertips, right? So we will also take a peek at the wallet. Wallet is really a key component here. When we were in Acumatica earlier, I said, hey, we can add a new Visa. Absolutely. We can add it directly within Acumatica for them. But the safest, securest method, obviously, is a customer is able to come in here and they can add a credit card. Maybe they've got a new corporate card that they want to start leveraging, different, point systems, something such as that. Or they established another banking relationship. They can add a new ACH option here. They also can edit any existing ones as needed. Maybe they needed to update an expiration date on a card, and they could delete right here. All self-service they can manage on their own. Other element that I think customers really love and appreciate is the ability to add additional users. You're going to be able to add additional users for a particular company if you would like to, but also they can as well. So maybe it was the AP manager. They were like, hey, I need to go in here and get this payment and update the ACH, but I'd like so-and-so on the team also to have access to this information. We can extend, or you guys have the ability, your customers will have the ability to extend additional users right here. All right. So that's a little bit about the portal that your customers will have access to. Let's make some payments, right? It's all about automating end-to-end payments directly with credit card or ACH. So last time we paid by ACH. This time, or we paid by Visa, right? This time we can go ahead and pay we'll pay by ACH. So I'm going to select 2 invoices here. Please note, I could go in and say, hey, I'm only going to pay $10,000 if that's your prerogative. You can pay the full amount, but you can make changes, augment that as needed. I'll go ahead and hit continue to pay. You also have the ability to collect notes. So it's summing up the 2 invoices I'm paying at $19,500. I have additional notes that I could add in here if I wanted to share for some reason. Absolutely. And then the other thing that you're going to see here is it's going to default a payment type, and that is for the customer to determine on their own. It's defaulting to that Visa card. We already paid one by Visa, so let's pay by ACH today. That's simple. You can go in, you can see any of your payment methods, select and change those as desired, confirm and pay. Oh, I must have exceeded a limit that's currently set within Acumatica. So let's do this. We'll go back out to invoices. Let's go ahead and pay this $4,500. That's the way it always works in a live demo, right? Now we've got the ACH defaulting. We'll go ahead and make payment. Now, what happens at this stage is you're going to get an automatic receipt that payment's been approved. Beauty here is whoever is the primary contact for that customer card, they're getting that email notification that's being highlighted right here. Tiffany from Nodus is getting that notification. You have the ability to download it. Absolutely. If you've made that payment and you want to just have records stored on your local machine, you've got the ability to download it that quickly. You also have the ability to email it to any others on your team. Maybe you made payment on a marketing invoice for a very specific trade show that, hey, the payment had to be made by X date. I want to notify the marketing manager. You can do this that quickly right here within the application. So payment's been made. All right, before we bounce out, we'll pop in here. I just want to highlight for you guys those email notifications I mentioned. Everything's coming in real time. So these are the invoices that we created at the very beginning of our demonstration here, $450, as well as one for the $1,500. And we also see that payment complete email notification. So again, everything's real time based on our integration directly with your Acumatica environment. All right. So now that you've seen a peek of Nodus embedded directly within Acumatica and the customer portal, I kind of wanted to wrap things up highlighting really the benefits of a self-service payment portal. Obviously, payment portals have been around for a while, but it's really nice to see that you've got functionality, you've got technology that can integrate a portal directly with your Acumatica solution. But with that said, there's a tremendous amount of data proving the value behind delivering that self-service, self-directed customer application to them. 35% of your customers are more likely to make payment on time when they have access to do so as they see fit, when they see fit. Additionally, it really highlights loyalty to an organization. Ease and convenience is a key element for so many people today. And it's reported directly 12.5% of customers are more likely to stick with you when they do have that self-service flexibility. And lastly, who doesn't want increased sales, right? It's proven customers are known to purchase 20% more products as they have access to do so on their own with the self-service portal. So truly some significant benefits in terms of obviously integrating payments directly into Acumatica, but also extending that self-service feature directly to the customers as well. So as a whole, here at Nodus, our goal is to bring end-to-end payment processing to you directly within the application that you're living and breathing, Acumatica. What we highlighted for you today is the payment processing component. It's not just credit cards, right? We can process credit cards and ACH directly within the solution. And we're also going to ensure that the customer is notified seamlessly. They're going to get that email notification with a link to make a single payment, right? Maybe they don't need access to that customer portal, or conversely, that guy that's been working with you for years and wants all that historical data, wants to be able to search and filter, set up their wallet on their own. That customer portal option is obviously clearly really effective for ensuring a more timely payment. But additionally, on the receivables management piece, so our goal here is truly to streamline all those really manual processes we just talked through. Invoices out. And do we just sit back and hope and wait for collection? A lot of times we have to, and we also layer in a manual process. Somebody having to remember to email, run a report, make a phone call. That's going to go away because you're able to set up those nagging reminders directly within our application. The beauty too is they can be configured unique to your organization to really ensure that it looks and feels exactly like your company. It's branded the way that the messaging is just the way you would typically communicate with your client base. End-to-end as well is obviously we support payment processing as a whole. So any of your e-commerce solutions that you need support on, we certainly would love to support you on the processing component there outside of Acumatica as well. Because here at Nodus, we have partnered with Evo. We became a part of Evo about 2 years ago. And the beauty of that is it was really allowing that true end-to-end process. So we've always been a software company. 20 years, Nodus has been around integrating payment processing directly into ERP applications for ease of use for, the accounts receivable team. But by also having the processing component now, everything comes under one roof. If you've got a challenge, whether it's on the software side, in terms of those nagging reminders, or actually the collection of payment through processing, it's all here with us at Nodus and Evo because we are that end-to-end processor. Eliminating some of those third parties and middlemen as well on the processing side really can drive down that processing cost for you. So that's something we're certainly happy to help you guys evaluate what type of credit card and ACH processing fees you can save on. So again, as a whole, Nodus has been around over 20 years, integrating to ERP applications to truly streamline the collection process for you guys. The marriage with Evo has been a fantastic one. We operate in 11 countries and 18 different offices and truly are a global end-to-end processor for you. So if you've got any questions, we're here for you. I hope you're using the Q&A window or the chat window within the session, but also we'll be in the expo booth all day today. Feel free, pop in, ask any questions that you may have. Thanks so much for being here today.